Craig Bear. All right. Sugar Bowl time. The number 5 UCLA Bruins traveling all the way from California to the deep south, while South Carolina is a short puddle jump fly as their number 1 seed takes on the number 5. Going ahead and look at the number 1 seed, South Carolina, who has torn through their schedule with a perfect zero blemish on their board. Destroying ECU early on 78-0. Former SEC opponent Kentucky, they destroy them 55-7. Hard-fought road games and some other good matchups that were somewhat close, but he held on. South Carolina versus Georgia was one for the books, as South Carolina wins it 24-15, and then they coasted the rest of the way and finished off the season against a very good UAB Blazers team, beating them 57-32. They met Ole Miss in the SEC championship game where they won 31-21 in a game that had more turnovers than actual touchdowns, a total of 8 in that game. They beat the number 8 seed in the playoffs, Alaska Anchorage, 31-23. The score looked a lot closer than what it actually was with that late score by Alaska. South Carolina, yet again, not turning the ball over nearly as much, but they still had the fumble bug. Now today they play the Bruins of UCLA. The Bruins, how did they get here? Well, they beat a playoff opponent already. Week 2, they beat Virginia 20-17, and then eventually dropping a game later on in the year to who did you lose to? To Missouri, who also a playoff team, losing 38-33. Get a good couple bounce back wins, destroying Washington 86-8, but then a major upset, favored by 19.5 points, and they lose to San Diego State 24-17. They needed a chance for their division for the Pac to represent for the championship game, and they beat rivals USC 37-22. They go to the Pac-12 championship. They beat Washington State 38-18. UCLA gets their redemption as they play against the team they lost to earlier in the year, and they beat them 31-21. And now, to keep their playoff hopes alive and make it to a national championship, both these teams has not won a championship in this league so far. South Carolina has made it to the national championship a couple times and has not made it through. So let's see. We have South Carolina rocking the black helmets, the garnet tops and bottoms. UCLA with the golden helmets, white jerseys, gold pants, as they will win the toss, UCLA that is, and they will go ahead and take the ball to start the game. Deep kick, and it will be a touchback. And UCLA's Mike Reed, who is a potential Heisman hopeful, comes trotting onto the field. During the regular season, 4,500 passing yards, 46 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions on the year. QBR of 137.8. Let's see if he can lead this Bruins team to an upset over number 1. Reed drops back to pass. Namaxolo gets the pass, and it's a gain of 16 on the play and a first down. Pass to Donovan Davidson for a gain of 16 yet again. Another big first down. Enzumalo? Okay, I remember that. Also, it's storming pretty bad down here. I may lose power. I may not lose power. And I also may lose internet access. So I'm going to try to do this as best as I can with what I got. So if I go silent, you know what's going on. Second down and 10. Mike Reed gets sacked. Liam Swain gets back there, dropped for a loss of 7. Third down and 17 at midfield. Reed drops back to pass, looking. He will fire over the middle, and Casey Bryant gets hit immediately, but it's only a gain of 5, and they will punt the ball away. Tony Smith just skies this one. It's a 27-yard punt with no return, and South Carolina takes over first and 10 on their own 18. But we have an early injury on the play. UCLA, Donovan Davidson, the running back, goes down. I don't know what happened. I guess when he came trotting off the field or a previous hit. But he is going to be out for the rest of the game as he is holding his stomach. We'll have updates for that later on. First and 10, South Carolina on their own 18-yard line. Corey Silas, the big-time player for the Gamecocks, who has been a little bit during the regular season has shown out. 4,200 passing yards, 45 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. 4 of those came in the SEC championship game. Here in the playoffs, he's having similar numbers as well, but he's been a little bit more interception happy. But he does have a few more rushing yards in the playoffs than he does during the regular season. So he will be scrambling a good bit. Silas drops back to pass, feels the pressure, and he throws this, and it's going to be intercepted. Gary Drum jumps in front of the ball, and he returns it for a 5-yard gain, and UCLA will have it first and 10 at the 19-yard line. In scoring distance already. Reed passes it to Glasgow for a loss of 1. Handoff. Patrick Haas gets it and he rushes it for 2, but there's a holding penalty that'll bring it back 10 yards. And UCLA's clock management is showing as they call a timeout. Second and 21. Reed drops back to pass. Quick pass to the outside. And they're hoping for a pass interference play, and the flag does fly. And the refs will give it a holding penalty on the defense instead of a pass interference. Still an automatic first down, but this one's 5 yards. Incomplete pass. Mike Reed drops back to pass, looking, doesn't see anything, decides to scramble up through the middle of the pocket. He rushes ahead, gets past the first down marker before he slides down. It's a 14-yard gain. First and 10 at the 11. Reed drops back, and it's the delayed handoff to Connor Swaim, who rushes up the middle, bounces off a tackle, and dives for the end zone, and we have ourselves a touchdown Bruins. Connor Swaim. Hold on real quick. Sorry, dog was scratching at the door. Had to see what's going on. All right. Where was I? Oh yes, Connor Swaim just scored a touchdown, the sophomore, as the extra point is missed by Stanley Monroe. And then UCLA goes up 6-0. Yes, the kicking woes is happening to you again. Deep kick, and it will be a touchback as South Carolina will take over their own 25-yard line. Silas drops back to pass, and it's going to be a delayed handoff to Luffy, who gets an 8-yard gain. Silas drops back to pass. He finds Finch for a gain of 11. First and 10. Silas drops back to pass, looking, throws a dime to Ben Jasinski, who comes down with it and runs up the field, and the ball gets punched out from underneath him, and it's going to be a turnover. A 25-yard gain by Jasinski, but the ball gets popped out by the safety, and it's going to be recovered by Chad Schneider, who forced that ball out and recovered it. It's going to be a 1st and 10 UCLA on their own 33. Reed hands the ball off to Haas, who gets a gain of 11. An incomplete pass, 2nd down and 10. Reed keeps it for himself. He gets a 7-yard gain. 3rd down. Reed drops back to pass, finds Tony Smith on an out route. He comes down with it, and he gets 2 feet in before he gets out of bounds. 1st and 10, Scar 29-yard line. Swaim gets the handoff, and he lowers the boom as he falls forward, and he'll get a 10-yard gain on the play. Reed on an RPO keeps it for himself. He'll get a 1-yard gain, 2nd down and 9. Incomplete pass to Glasgow. Reed drops back to pass, looking, finds Cole Cameron, who gets past the 1st down marker, has a great block as he walks into the end zone. Touchdown, UCLA. Secret wants to go for 2, but he will send out his kicker instead, as Stanley Monroe will actually nail this one, and it is good. 13-0 UCLA. Kickoff taken from the end zone. Buck Doolittle will return it for 14, and it'll be 1st and 10 at the 13-yard line. Silas completes a pass, a loss of 2 on the play to Finch. 2nd down and 12. Silas hands the ball off to Luffy, who rushes ahead, and he gets tackled hard, and he gets brought down by the face mask. And they're going to throw a flag on that. 15 free yards the Bruins give them, and it's going to be 1st and 10 at the South Carolina 34-yard line. Silas drops back to pass. After the play action, throws it deep. He's got Kaylee Reddick run on one. He jumps up and he comes down with it. He maintains his balance as he's going to run into the end zone. Touchdown, South Carolina. Rayshawn Haddock will nail the extra point and cut into the lead. It is 13-7 as we have ourselves a ball game. Kickoff taken from the end zone. Jack Sparrow will run it up for 19 yards, and it'll be 1st and 10 at the 13-yard line for the Bruins. Reed hands the ball off, and Swaim is met at the line of scrimmage, but a flag flies on the play as South Carolina is going to be penalized, lowering the head to initiate contact. A 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down for the Bruins. Gary Stewart is the player for South Carolina. I do believe so, because he doesn't have very many stats. But I digress. I don't know if the NFL rules ejects people for helmet to helmet contact. So whatever. 1st and 10 UCLA. Reed drops back to pass. It's incomplete. Another incompletion, but it's a pass interference on the defense, and it's another automatic 1st down for the Bruins. Swain gets an 8-yard rush. Reed gets a loss of 4. 3rd down and 6. Reed drops back to pass and dumps it to Swaim out of the backfield, who rushes ahead. He'll get the 1st down. 1st and 10 at the UCLA 48. Reed drops back to pass, feels the pressure, decides to step up into the pocket and to scramble. He rushes ahead and he gets hit hard. The ball pops free, and it's going to be a turnover as South Carolina jumps on the ball. And it's recovered. South Carolina will have it 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Turnover on downs as Mike Reed got hit hard and he comes up hobbling. He's going to be looked at on the sideline. First and 10, Silas keeps it for himself. He gets an 8-yard run. Hand the ball off to Brett White, who gets a 1 yard gain. It's 3rd down and 1. Fake it to White. Throw it to Luffy. Luffy gets a big first down and more as he gets 16 on the play. 1st and 10 at the Bruins' 19-yard line. The Bruins gift them 5 free yards for a neutral zone infraction. Luffy gets the handoff for a 1 yard gain. Brett White gets a handoff for a 1 yard gain. An incomplete pass makes it 4th and 3 as we end the first quarter. South Carolina is down 7-13, but they have a chance to put some points on the board. We do have an injury update. Donovan Davidson for UCLA has taken his shoulder pads off, and he has a strained abdomen, and he's going to be out for the rest of the game. Mike Reed is still in the injury tent right now, and we should have an update pretty soon on him. 4th and 3. Haddock with a 29-yard chip shot. The kick is up, and it is good as South Carolina cuts into the lead, 13-10. As the kickoff happens, Haddock will take it from the 3-yard line. Kick to the 3-yard line. Sparrow will return it for 20 yards. And we have yet another Bruin who is injured. Trey Bennett, the linebacker, was hurt. As this is the 3rd player for UCLA to get injured. They had an offensive lineman who went down. And now Trey Bennett. I will have updates for him later on as well. As 1st and 10, Reed comes onto the field. Late decision by Coach Secret, but Reed pushes through, and the delay of game happens. So Coach Secret will take the 5 yards back as Reed drops back to pass. He fined his man Nzumala for a loss of 1 on the return catch. But even worse, he fumbles the ball and South Carolina recovers it. South Carolina will have it 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line. Silas drops back to pass. He fires over the middle to Hollister, who gets the first down, stretching his arms out, and he's going to be stopped short of the goal line. It's going to be 1st and goal from the 1. Hand the ball off to Brett White, who is met in the backfield for a loss of 2. 2nd and goal. They line up goal line formation. Silas, play action to Luffy. Still tries to find Luffy over the middle on a pass, and that gets batted away by defensive linemen as it brings up a 3rd and goal from the 3. Coach Indiana Bond will send out his team, and it's a shotgun formation, 4 wide receivers with Luffy in the slot position. Silas drops back to pass, pump fakes to the left side, doesn't feel the pressure, and he's going to be sacked. Isaiah McMaster gets back there and drops him for a loss of 9 on a big sack. As Rayshawn Haddock will trot on the field on 4th and goal from the 12. The field goal is up and good, and South Carolina ties the game. The Bruins' bend don't break mentality keeps this one alive. Kickoff. Be 1st and 10 from 25-yard line. 12:26 left in the half. Reed hands the ball off to Haas, who gets a 7-yard gain. Reed finds a completion. K.C. Bryant out of the backfield, who gets blown up immediately, and it's a loss of 4. 3rd down and 7. Reed drops back to pass, throws it to the outside, finds Tony Smith on a hook route, who spins out of it, and he gets past the 1st down marker for a gain of 9 and a 1st down. Hand the ball off to Swaim. He gets 9 yards. Haas gets a handoff. He gets three, first down. Reed, play action, throws it quickly over the middle, finds Glasgow for a gain of 4. Incomplete pass. Glasgow gets it again for a gain of 3, and it's a 4th down and 3 at the South Carolina 44. Let's see what Coach Secret wants to do. He's not typing, but they're going to go for it. 4th and 3. Shotgun formation. 2 running backs in the backfield. Takes the snap. It's a play RPO. Throws it quickly over the middle to Dodds. As Dodds has some room, runs it up the field, and before he gets brought down by a safety, and it's a gain of 23 on the play. It is now 1st and 10 at the South Carolina 21. The defense bit on the run play, and Dodds beat his man off the line to get open. 1st and 10, handoff to Haas, who gets an 8-yard gain. Complete pass to Bryant for a gain of 1, and then an incomplete pass that brings up a 4th and 1 from the 12. As Coach Secret, instead of going for it, will send out his kicker, Staley Monroe, who has been inconsistent of late. Is that fair to say? This is a 29-yard field goal. The kick is up, and it is good as they extend their lead 16-13. .406 left in the half. They took off a bunch of time that drive, close to 8 minutes. Kickoff taken from the 4-yard line. Doolittle gets a good return on it, and South Carolina 1st and 10, their own 27-yard line. Silas drops back to pass, looking, throws it. Double coverage, interception by Craig Smith, who has a little bit of room, and he'll get a 7-yard return on it. And the Bruins have the ball deep into South Carolina territory off of one play. 1st and 10, 29. Hand the ball up to Haas, who gets a 2-yard gain. Reed, play action, throws it deep on a fade route. He finds Glasgow, who comes down with it and is pushed out of bounds for a 21-yard gain. It is 1st and goal from the 6. Reed drops back to pass, looking, fires quickly over the middle, sliding catch by Casey Bryant in the end zone, touchdown UCLA. The extra point is up and good. It is 23-13, and the Bruins have some life in them. And the momentum, most importantly. Kickoff taken from the 6. Doolittle gets a decent return again for 28. 1st and 10 for the 34-yard line. Handoff to Luffy, who rushes ahead, and he gets 9 yards as we hit the 2-minute timeout. Luffy gets the handoff again. He surges ahead. A big blow-up hit there as Luffy gets 10 yards on the play. And UCLA has another downed man. And, we have some altercation going on here as Alonzo Smith pushes a guy, and they're going to throw the flags. Unnecessary roughness on Alonzo Smith, but we still have a Bruin down. Defensive lineman Harold Bowman, who I don't know what happened there. He might got rolled up underneath, and Alonzo Smith took offense to it and started shoving again. As Bowman's going to be helped off the field by the trainers. Update for the linebacker Trey Bennett. He has a sprained knee injury, and they're keeping him back in the locker room for further observation to make sure it's nothing worse. But Harold Bowman is also out. 1st and 10, South Carolina at the Bruins 32. Luffy comes out. Jasinski gets the handoff. He gets a 13-yard gain. Luffy comes back in. 1st and 10 from the 19. Handoff to Luffy. Luffy surges ahead. He gets an 8-yard gain there. 2nd down and 2. Luffy gets a toss play to the outside. Makes a man miss. Jumps over another. And he dives for the end zone. Touchdown, South Carolina. 11-yard run by Monkey D. Luffy as the extra point is good and South Carolina cuts into the lead 23 to 20. A minute 32 left. Sparrow will take it from the back of the end zone. It'll be a 26-yard return as UCLA takes over 1st and 10th, 22-yard line. Handoff to Haas, who gets no gain, and South Carolina has used their timeouts, and that was their final one. 2nd and 10, hand the ball off. Reed keeps it for himself. He gets a 9-yard gain. 3rd down and 1. Reed runs the RPO, keeps it, and decides he's going to throw it on a roll route. He's got a man open down the field, and he finds Glasgow, who comes down with it, and he's running up the field before he is pushed out of bounds for a 41-yard gain. And they're into South Carolina territory. 22 seconds left in the half. They have a couple more plays to go with no timeouts to decide on what they're going to do. Reed toss quick pass to the outside. He finds Tony Smith. Smith fights for a few extra yards before he decides to go out of bounds on his own will. 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line. Reed drops back to pass, throws this one deep towards the end zone, and he overthrows his man Glasgow. Time winding down, and they're just going to kick the field goal. Stanley Monroe lines up for the 31-yarder. The kick is up, and it is good as time will expire for the second half as UCLA leads it 26 to 20. This game is brought to you by Dos Equis Lager Especial. When it's game time, grab yourself an ice cold Dos Equis Mexicana, bottled and brewed in White Plains, New York. Stay thirsty, my friends. Since UCLA won the toss and won the ball first, USC will get the ball in the second half, as it will be taken from the end zone. Doolittle gets a 19-yard return, and USC will take it 1st and 10 at the 15. Silas passes out of the backfield to Luffy for an 11-yard gain. False start. Doolittle gets the handoff for a loss of 3. 2nd down and 18. Luffy, handoff, no gain. 3rd down and 18 at the 18-yard line. Shotgun formation. Luffy gets moved out of the backfield to the slot position. Takes the snap, looking that way. Decides to go a different route. He finds Ben Jasinski on the outside, who comes down with it. A big gain there before he's finally brought down for a gain of 33 and a big 1st down. Updates. Harold Bowman is no longer he's no longer playing, and he's gonna but it's not a sustaining injury that he suffered. Just a bruised leg, but he's not going to finish the rest of the game. That's important because the very next play, Corey Silas gets sacked by Ben Cordova, another defensive lineman who has to step up. Loss of 8 on the play. 2nd and 18. Silas drops back to pass. He finds Jasinski yet again, this time for 29 yards, as we have yet another injured Bruin on the play. Alonzo Smith, who is part of the unnecessary roughness, who hit Jasinski on that, came down hard on his shoulder, and he is being helped off the field. 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. Hand the ball off to Luffy for a gain of 2. Silas finds Luffy out of the backfield for a gain of 9 and a 1st down. Doolittle gets the handoff for a gain of 1. Pass over the middle to Caleb Reddick for a gain of 5. 3rd down and 4. Handoff, Luffy up the middle, gets blown up for no gain. As Rayshon Haddock will have to trot out for a field goal. 28-yard field goal is up and good as USC cuts into the lead 26 to 23. 8:29 left in the 3rd quarter. Kickoff will be a touchback, and the Bruins will take over. Reed finds Inzumala for a big gain of 20 on that very first play. Hand the ball off to Haas for gain of 3. They do a wide receiver run for Inzumala for a gain of 8 on the play, and it's a big first down. Swaim gets the handoff for a gain of 11. Haas gets a handoff, and it's a loss of 2 on the play. But the very next play, Reed finds Glasgow for a gain of 10. It's 3rd down and 2 at the USC 25. Hand the ball off to Swaim, who rushes ahead. He gets the first down, and he gets a little bit more for a gain of 6. Sticking to the ground game. Haas gets the handoff. He gets a 14-yard gain. It's 1st and goal from the 5-yard line as UCLA is driving down the field. Hand the ball off. Haas gets it, rushes up, gets tripped up at the line of scrimmage, but he'll fall forward. He'll get 4 on the play as it's going to be 1st and goal from the 1 as we have an injured Gamecock. Joe Todd, the defensive lineman, is going to be injured. And we'll have an update for you on him as well. Just a bunch of injuries today. Todd comes off holding his ankle. We'll look at that later. So, 2nd and goal. Handoff. Blown up in the backfield. Connor Swaim gets tackled for a loss of 3, and it's 3rd down and goal from the 4. Reed drops back to pass. Looking, decides he's going to roll out. Has time. Thinks about scrambling. He's going to do a dump off pass, and he finds his man Inzumala in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. The extra point is up and good. It is 33-23, and yet again UCLA taking close, just a little bit over 8 minutes on that drive. 20 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Kickoff will be a touchback, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Gamecocks at the 25-yard line. Incomplete pass to Luffy, then a 6-yard rush by White as that ends the 3rd quarter. 33-23. Bruins. The Gamecocks have the ball. 3rd down and 4. Silas goes for a pass play. Finds Cody Finch for a gain of 5 on the play. 1st down. Silas finds Jasinski. This one a gain of 15 on the play. 1st and 10. Hand off to Luffy for a gain of 7. Neutral zone infraction by UCLA gives them a free 1st down. 1st and 10 at 37. Luffy gets a handoff for a gain of 3. White handoff for a gain of 5. 3rd down and 2. Silas drops back to pass, fires to the outside. He finds Jasinski, who makes a man miss before he is brought down for a 13-yard gain, and it is 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line. An incomplete pass play. White gets the handoff, rushes it up the middle. He has room. He goes towards the end zone, dives, touchdown, South Carolina. But we have a flag on the play, holding on the offense. Take the points off the board, and it's now 2nd and 20. Silas drops back to pass, and it's a loss of 2 on the play. And they have an injured offensive lineman. 3rd and 22 with a backup offensive lineman in. Hand the ball off to Doolittle up the middle, who surges ahead. He gets a little bit of yards, and he gets hit hard. The ball pops free. We have a fumble on the ground, and it's recovered by UCLA. They recover. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Bruins on their own 21-yard line. Reed drops back to pass. He'll find Tony Smith over the middle for a sliding catch, a gain of 3. 2nd and 7. Reed drops back to pass, sets it up to the outside, throws it. It's going to be intercepted by Jarrett Lewis of South Carolina, who gets a little head of steam before he is shoved out of bounds for a gain of 7. And it's going to be 1st and 10 USC on their UCLA 47. Silas drops back to pass, and he's going to be dropped for a sack. A loss of 8 on the play by Gerald Farmer. Second and 18. Hand the ball off to Luffy, who's met at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Third down. Brett White gets in the backfield for a loss of 3 on the play, and it's a 4th and 21, and they have to punt the ball away. 31-yard punt, 4-yard return by Sparrow, and the Bruins take over 1st and 10 on their own 31. 6:54 left in the game. Go to the air and finds Galasco for an incomplete pass. Second down and 10. He finds Inzumala for a gain of 8. Third down and short. Go to a pass play again. Set up the screen on the outside to Zumalo, who comes down with it. He's got a great block, and he rushes up the field before he is taken down for a gain of 18 on the play. 1st and 10 to the South Carolina 43. Hand the ball off to Swaim, who gets a 4-yard run. Reed keeps it for himself, gets a gain of 5 on the play. Third down and 1. Hand the ball off to Swaim, who is met at the line of scrimmage for no gain. And it's 4th and 1 from the South Carolina 34. As Secret wants to go for it, and that's what his team does. They will go for it. 4th and 1 from the 34. Reed, handoff, and it's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be a turnover, but Reed still has the ball. He throws it. He has a wide open Casey Bryant, who has beat the defense, and he walks into the end zone. Touchdown, UCLA. The play action worked, and it bit, and Reed had it all the way. The extra point is up and good, and it is 40-23 with 4:54 left in the game. Coach Secret forgets how FBGM works as he's saying game over in chat. Kickoff taken from the 1-yard line. Doolittle gets an 18-yard return. 1st and 10, USC at the 19-yard line. 4 minutes left in the game. Hand off to White for gain of 3. Passed to Jasinski for a gain of 6 on the play. 3rd down and 1. Pass out of the backfield to Luffy for a gain of 16 and a 1st down. Silas drops back to pass, finds Doolittle for a gain of 8. 2nd down and 2. Silas drops back to pass, throws out of the backfield, finds Caleb Reddick, who rushes up the sideline before he is shoved out of bounds for a 20-yard gain, and it's 1st and 10 at the UCLA 28 as we hit the 2-minute timeout. White gets the handoff for a gain of 4. Incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. It is 4th and 6. And they run a draw play. Luffy gets the handoff, rushes up the field, and he's going to be stopped short of the line of the 1st down marker, as it's going to be a turnover on downs, and UCLA will take over at their own 20-yard line. But USC has all 3 timeouts. Haas will get the handoff. He gets a gain of nothing on the play. 1st timeout taken. 2nd down and 10. UCLA goes to the air, and he finds Glasgow sliding down for the catch for a gain of 6. A 2nd timeout is used. 3rd down and 4. Reed drops back to pass. Looking, fires to the outside. He finds Glasgow, who comes down with it, and a big 1st down as South Carolina uses their final timeout of the game. And with that, UCLA will kneel it out, and they will win it 40-23.